on the northern side of the den itself. So there we go. Is this the two of you, or is Mom here as well? Look how big you've gotten already. They are massive already. They've been so big. They're probably double the size of when I last saw them. Their legs have gotten long, and you can see rather curious as well. So as soon as we arrived, they were up and looking and checking what's going on, and now back to whatever game that they were having. And at this stage of their life, they're going to be teething, so everything is going to be bitten, from grass to trees to bones, anything they can get their teeth on, they certainly will start to feed off. There you go. You can see that one. It's got something there. What is that? A stick, or is that a bone that it's got? Can't see nicely. But already they've got incredibly powerful jaws. You can hear them actually crunching down. It looks like a bone. Is it a bone, Via? What do you think? Piece of wood. Yeah, it is a piece of wood. Either way, that piece of wood is being crunched down and chewed upon. And like I say, that's because of the teething process that they're going through. Now, I believe a lot of you are very excited to see the little ones and to see them here and out and about. And I'm quite surprised that they are here, because it is quite late in the morning. It's starting to get a little warmer now. The sun is quite high up. But I suppose it's been a fairly chilly start to the day, so maybe that's why they're out a little bit later today, and why we're seeing them still bounding around. And don't you love when they're at this age? Their legs almost look too long for their bodies, and they kind of bounce around. Oof. Has it all been too much this morning, little one? Janice, you were agreeing that they are very cute when they're this age and this young. Like I say, I like that they're kind of in that lanky phase where their legs are too long for their body almost, and they're kind of having to grow into them, and it's all a bit awkward, and they kind of trundle along all over the place, and there's a series of miscalculated falls that happen. And it's just, they tend to be at their cutest when they're like this. Obviously, when they're very, very small, they also are quite cute when they're little black balls of fluff. But it really is amazing how much they've grown since I've last saw them. I mean, it's probably about 3 weeks since I've seen them, and they really have doubled in size. They've got lots of little spots coming through now. You can see the one on the right is very spotty, and the one on the left just starting to show some signs. So really cool to see how much they've grown and how well they're doing. And evidently, that one is just stolen. It's away from the other one. That's not very nice. So one stick has been stolen from the other one. That doesn't mean it's going to stop chewing, though, but there we go. Are we sure it's a stick, Via? It looks like it, doesn't it? It seems the other one has found another stick to play with anyway, so all is good. Or something, at least, to chew on. You'll find that they'll chew on all kinds of things, and if they finish up with whatever that is and start heading towards us, then I'm pretty sure our tyres are in for a rough time of things, because they will often go after tyres and chew on them, and they then bite through the valves and all kinds of other things. So you have to discourage them from doing that. Nancy, you're asking, would they just crush the bones, or do they eat them? Well, Nancy, they will eat them. So what they do is they crush them down, and then they swallow them like that, and they will absorb all of the calcium from that, as well as the marrow that's inside. So there's a lot of nutrition inside a bone that they're after. So they will crush them down with these jaws and then swallow them. And often when you see hyenas, sometimes they'll regurgitate, and there will be shards of bigger bone that haven't digested. But otherwise, when they defecate, generally their dung is dry as a white color, and that's because of the amount of calcium from the bones that they've fed on. So it is something that they do eat, and they will crunch down on and feed on. It's not that they just crush them and leave it. They actually are absorbing nutrients from that bone structure itself. So they actively do feed on bones as much as they can, just to be able to get the nutrients that are in there. But I think it is a bone, given that they've got so much interest. A piece of wood they would chew and spit out, but it seems as though they're actually swallowing bits. So I don't know if maybe Gwen brought back some sort of food item at some point, and now they're just chewing on it. Whatever it is, if it is a bone, it's an incredibly old one. It's not a fresh carcass, because that was quite dark in coloration, which means that it's been dried out. So whatever it was must be very old. Izzy, you're wondering if there's a reason why the one cub is so much spottier than what the other one is. Is it a nutrition thing, or is it just random? Well, Izzy, it generally is random. It's just they develop their spots at different times, and there might be some sort of indication in terms of one being slightly more strong and more dominant is getting access to food and is therefore growing more. That could be something to do with it, but generally when it comes to coat patterns and coats like this, it's more just to do with the fact that they kind of a random situation. So it's, same as things like leopards, they'll develop different spots. It's the same thing with hyenas, that they'll start to show their spots at random, and some just show a little bit earlier than others. You can see this one is got the spots starting to show, and the process of change between that black and then the spots will be quite quick. You'll find a situation whereas in the next probably, I would say, 3-4 weeks, that one will also be completely spotty all the way through. So it's going to change very, very fast, and it might just be a random thing that the one is a lot more spotty than the other. Now we're having a little game. I think the bone is causing a lot of trouble, or stick, whichever one it is causing a bit of chaos between the two of them. Although it wasn't too bad, it was fairly amicable. They've kind of bit at each other, and that was the end of that. But look at that little nose down in the ground. They're so cute when they're chewing on things, and big brown eyes, round sort of cylindrical brown eyes that they have. They always look very cute when they're up to no good, these guys. Gwen, of course, is completely sleepy. She's sitting in the shade and taking it very easy, and is very restful. I'm sure she had a long night, given how far these guys do move around. Right, now Jamie, who is no longer silent, I believe has got something that might fly away fairly soon, so let's jump across to her. Well, it's quite interesting. They were about to settle down for the morning, and we were just leaving to carry on because we couldn't see them anymore. They went down towards the hole, and as soon as we left, the two little ones came right out, and they're now sniffing around all the places that we were, where we were parked, basically. So they kind of having a look around and just checking what we were, and I think then they're going to go back towards their mound for a spot of a nap, because they were about to nap when we left, and like I said, I think us moving just got them a little bit curious as to what was going on, and they came and then just sniffed around and checked out what's happening. You can see there's a bit of sniffing there, and there comes one charging down towards us. Are you coming to say hello, little one? This is about the most exploratory that I've seen them. In all the times that we've seen them, they generally don't venture very far from the mounds at all. But they're starting to get older now and starting to get a lot more curious. They're a bundle of joy as they kind of jump around and move around and run around all over the place. And I'm sure we're going to see them exploring a lot more over the coming weeks and going a lot further away from the den as they do it. But look at the little noses down to the ground all the time. They're always looking for things to sniff around and to see what's happening. And so it's going to be interesting just to see how far they actually end up going. And they're right where we were sitting with the vehicle, so I think they're very curious as to what this big hunking piece of metal is and what it was doing here. And there we go, a little bit of greeting going on. Aren't they sweet, these two? Little sibling greeting, and then off they go again. And it seems as though the darker one is the one that is a lot more sort of bold than the spotty one. The spotty one seems to be a little bit more reserved. The dark one is the one that kind of comes bounding along towards us and comes to check out what's going on, and it seems to be a lot more sort of happy to be on its own and exploring than what the spotty one is. The spotty one seems to be a little bit more on the shy side, although they seem to have found something else now that they're going to chew, maybe another stick or a bone. I'm not quite sure. It was underneath where the car was, so maybe that's why they were waiting for us to move before they came down. No, can't be too moreish because they've already left it alone. But how cute are they? And it is a big brand new world for them. Lots of little things happening, a bit of rain and insects and all kinds of other things that they can now go and feed off and try and investigate and look at. And so there's a lot of things going on, and as we get more rain, so we're going to see them doing more of it. Now, I think it was Snazzy, you're wondering, do hyena cubs compete fizzy? Is that what I heard right? Sorry, Megan, there's a lot of wind now that's blowing, so it's a bit difficult. Sprizzy. Okay, well, there we go. Now we've got it right, I think. So at the end of the day, the hyenas, they won't kill each other. in competition later as siblings and as litter mates, you'll find a situation that once they're at this age and they start growing up, they're not going to worry too much. What have you got there? You've got a vertebra that you're busy carrying away. So there's a bit of bone that one's got that is being taken away back towards the den. This one is still rooting around at another piece of bone and seeing what there is there. But they won't kill one another at this age now. They're both big enough and strong enough. What will happen, though, is you'll get a situation where, depending whether they're males or females, that the females will start to outcompete the males and dominate them in that regard. But they won't kill them. You'll find that they'll still leave the little males to themselves and to survive, but they will dominate them and push them around a little bit. Now, one of them, the darker one, is a male. I was watching it just now. It was rolling around, so it is a male. I think they both are, actually, to be honest. So I think they're both going to be equally pushed around. If there are other little ones in the area and are born to higher ranking females, then they are going to get a little bit of abuse from them. Now we're going to leave them there because they've gone back towards the den, and I'm not going to go back and disturb them once more. We had a really nice view of them kind of coming along towards us and down to the road, so we're going to try and head off and leave them to themselves. Like I say, they were starting to go down into the mound itself when we first started to leave, and that's why we left, is because once they go down in the mound, generally they're going to sleep for the day. So I didn't want to disturb them anymore, and they gave us a really nice show coming out and playing with bones and all kinds of other things, so we're going to leave it there. Now, I believe James the cheetah are up and moving, so let's quickly go across to him.